Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. What a lovely audience you are. Can I take your snapshot with permission? Come on, give me a smile, give me a mug. Okay, folks, look at this. Oh, I love it. Big smile. Great. And I just want to get something. I might have confused you before. I said Chris was my partner and my brother. He's not my partner in life, he's my partner in business. So there you go. Nothing weird going on here. Anyhow, my name is Jon Forde, and I'm doing practical video today, so basic video. This is really, really the basic stuff. Is anybody in video production here at all? So I'm kind of preaching to a virgin audience a little bit. That's great. That's my intention. I'm going to go over 4 basic areas of production: pre-production, some audio tips, some video shooting skills, and finally editing, doing basic editing. I'm not going to get tangled up in too much. And the reason I'm giving this workshop is because if you're going to go to the length to do a video, you might as well have some guidelines and follow the guidelines, because nobody's going to watch a really bad video, whether it's audio or you've seen them right on YouTube. It's like, just move on. So I'm going to hopefully pass on some knowledge to you where you can just take a few tips. My background, firstly, I went to Sheridan College in Oakville. I studied media arts, which includes film, video, audio, and script writing. That was a long time ago. I went right into the workforce in corporate communications. As David mentioned, I did a lot of car stuff, a lot of GM for Detroit, a lot of Toyota. So that was a big business. Now it's pharma. Go figure. When medical marijuana comes in, maybe it'll be that. I don't know. Anyhow, I produce and direct and do all of that stuff, and I do have a company with my brother now. Starting at the beginning, I think Angela touched on target marketing. We're basing this video on your club. It's going to be like a club video that we're going to be working towards here. So target marketing. Maybe your club, you're looking for professionals or a lifestyle or an age group. Figure out, as opposed to a shotgun approach, narrow it down a little bit and just think about who you want this video to apply to. A concept. A concept is, what is the video going to be about? Your key information. What do you want to get across? Concept could be day in the life of a Toastmaster, your club. It could be, what's our secret sauce? What makes us better than the next club? You want to promote what you do and do it well. In the 90s, corporately, we had a lot of fun with Indiana Jones. You know, for corporate clients, we would put the hat on them and the whip and sell their product. We got a lot of mileage out of that. This is an example of a video I did last year about Toastmasters.
Hello and welcome to Toastmasters TV. Today we're going to hit the streets to find out what other people know about Toastmasters. Yes, and I believe we're ready to go to our roving reporter in the street, Scoop Anderson. Over to you, Scoop.
Thanks, Mortimer. This is Scoop Anderson. We're here at a Toastmasters event and we're going to find out what Toastmasters is all about.
Toastmasters means to me it's an opportunity to practice speaking, to get to know people, and to really work in refining my skills with speaking and confidence and being comfortable in front of an audience that I may or may not know.
What's your favorite thing about Toastmasters?
One thing that I really enjoy about Toastmasters is just the camaraderie, the supportive environment, the welcoming environment.
Toastmasters means to me an ability or an opportunity to really step outside yourself and to challenge yourself. So it's an opportunity to really refine your speaking skills to a level that you probably didn't think you were capable of doing.
Toastmasters is an opportunity for me to improve my skill in, obviously, public speaking, but also to get over my fear of being out in public forums amongst people and talking.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. But before we go, we'd like to say we hope to see you soon at a Toastmasters meeting. For Toastmasters TV, I'm Mortimer Costello. Bye-bye.
So that's an example of a concept. The concept was news. So we had a news anchor. He's a professional actor, by the way. He's a friend of mine. He did me a solid there. But the roving reporter, Scoop Anderson, was one of our club members, Heather. And she did a great job. She took the mic and she went and took people down. And so we're getting information from real Toastmasters. One of those shots was in this church, actually, the gentleman who was walking around the stage. So that's a concept. And we had a lot of fun with that. Your approach, how are you going to shoot this video? Are you going to have the president perhaps at the podium and just frame him so and then deliver a message? That's a great way of doing it too. You're going to see Trump do it all the time, sorry. But that's a great way to convey a message. Perhaps you would like to show your pictures for the year and put it with a voiceover about your club and some music underneath that. That's another way of doing it. Or maybe just interviewing, going around with a microphone and interviewing your club members. So there are different types of approaches that you can use. That leads me to this very important step. If you've seen Mad Men, you see storyboards all the time. They use it to present to their clients, what the next commercial, their next big commercial is. They would show a storyboard to the client. The client would get a very detailed idea of what they were going to do before the shoot. If there was any changes to be done, easy peasy on a piece of paper. Just get the art director to change it around. This is also it's very helpful throughout the process. So pre-production, when you're actually on the shoot, it's great because everybody can refer to it, follow it like a map. You've set it down. What shot are we going to do? Are we going to do a close-up? We're going to do a medium shot. It's right there. It's also an amazing tool when you go to edit. It's already done. You've got your shots from the storyboard. Now you go to edit. You just kind of, okay, I need that shot, I need that shot, I need that shot. If you're organized, it's a piece of cake. I can see you doing it already. So very important, the storyboard, it's a great tool. These are just a few things to do the day before the shoot. Have extra batteries and have them charged up. There's nothing like doing a shoot and boop, your battery dies and you're stuck because nobody wants to wait around for a battery to charge up. Same goes with memory cards. If it's a camera or a phone, I'll take this opportunity to say, please use a camera. Phones are okay, but we'll get into that next. Cameras are meant to take video. A stabilizer, a tripod will be your best friend because shaky video just doesn't cut it. You've seen it on bad wedding videos and you can't stay still. It's like being in San Francisco during an earthquake. And of course, the easiest thing to do, and I still do this after 30 years, I make a checklist because I look at that list before I leave and I go, yep. I didn't forget the camera. I didn't forget, whatever you need for that specific shoot. It's a great plan. It's just built in. Okay, if there's one takeaway that you get from this workshop, please pay attention to this next point. Shoot horizontally. Getting back to the phone. A phone is designed like this, to go from the ear to the mouth, yeah? And now phones are cameras. The button's right at the bottom. Here you go. So button's at the bottom, and you're taking video like this. It doesn't exist in the video world. This does. And I'll show you why.
This video didn't have to look this way. It could have been prevented. Say no to vertical videos.
Vertical videos happen when you hold your camera the wrong way. Your video will end up looking like crap.
There are more and more people addicted to making vertical videos every day. There are two different kinds of people who are afflicted with VVS. The first group treats the videos they shoot like pictures. They don't mean any harm. They just don't understand that while you can turn a picture, you can't really turn a video. Vertical video syndrome is dangerous. Motion pictures have always been horizontal. Televisions are horizontal. Computer screens are horizontal. People's eyes are horizontal. We aren't built to watch vertical videos.
I love vertical videos!
Nobody cares about you!
Just say no to vertical videos.
It's cute, but I wish I produced that. It's so clever. And it's got a great point. Vertical video doesn't belong in the video world. I don't know where it belongs. Getting back to stabilization, the reason we have a tripod is because the screen on the left, although exaggerated, that's really uncomfortable to watch. It's the same shot on the right there, and that looks normal. There's nothing wrong with the shot on the right. The one on the left, you will be distracted. And if you've got audio going on, you're not going to be able to concentrate on that. So it's a good idea to have a tripod. If you don't have a tripod, that's okay. Put your camera here. Or do this. Just spread your feet a little bit, hold the camera like that. A little shake is fine. A little shake is fine. In the video that you saw before, I was holding the camera on my shoulder or somewhere about here, but I was stabilizing myself. So, you know, a little movement's fine. We're all used to watching city TV in the 80s. I'm just going to touch on this white balance. Every camera has a white balance button, and usually auto white balance. And so do the phones. They have auto white balance. It just means that if you go outside, the sun is a different color than these lights here. So generally, auto white balance will correct itself. But if you find yourself shooting in here and it's all blue, look for the white balance. And as you can see here, it's got these are the different kinds of light that you can set it to. So if you see something really strange about your picture, go to white balance, pick what the setting that you're in. These are incandescent bulbs, but maybe fluorescent or something like that. So there is a setting for that. This may be really obvious, but put your subject by the light source. So put your subject here, not by a window. If there was a window and sun was coming in, if you put them by the window, you're going to look like you're in the witness protection program. There's no detail there. So it's great if you are, but it doesn't really work out. Now, here's a well-lit shot that's, there's Sandy Robb. Thank you, Sandy. So I actually, the room was well lit, and I actually had a little light on the camera, like an onboard light, just to fill in some of the shadows. And we have a nice little highlight on top. If you do show it, the sun behind, you would have to put a light on to get the fill in there. So again, if you're dealing with that, either turn the subjects around and shoot from the sun to the subjects, or put a light on there. Now, here's a great tip. When you go to do an interview with whoever you're interviewing, get there about 10, 15 minutes beforehand and have a conversation with your subject. If you're the interviewee, have a conversation and just get to know each other a little bit, get the subject relaxed, because when it comes time to flick the light on and hit the red record button, people kind of go, and then you're going to work extra hard and ask those questions like 3 times. Generally, people calm down after 10 minutes, so do it beforehand. Just have a nice little conversation. Don't ask them the questions. Just kind of get to know them and put them at ease and relax them. That's a trick that a lot of reporters use, and it works wonderfully. It really does. Now, when you're actually going to shoot, keep in mind that you want to shoot eye level. If I'm standing, that's why this camera is where it is. So if somebody was shooting from there, you want to be standing as well. So eye level is very important. If you want to do a sit-down interview, grab a chair and sit down as well. Eye level is the thing to maintain, because if you're looking down like this or looking up, it's just strange and you can tell, and it's awkward. Let's talk about audio. Now, here's a statement that may seem controversial. When making TV shows or movies, sound is more important than the picture. That's a quote I got. Studies show that while people will tolerate low-quality video images, they will not watch programs that have poor audio. That's because our brain can digest and process images. We can actually see what's going on. If it's crappy, we're used to crappy images anyways. But if it's audio, it's something prehistoric about us, or primitive, that it just bothers us. It's like an annoying sound. So be really careful about the audio. And I'll give you a few tips. First of all, let's talk about the kinds of microphones there are. There's a microphone right on the camera. And it's designed to be used probably about 3 feet away. If you're doing an interview and you have a camera like that, it's great in about this range. If it was at the back of the room, forget about it. It's going to sound like a tin can, and it's just not going to work out. The handheld mic is great as well. And people are used to handheld mic. I mean, if you introduce it in that first video, you saw it was a handheld mic. I think I put a Toastmaster logo there, so it's very newsy. We're okay with that. And it's also a very good tool. It gets great audio. The only thing with a handheld mic, if you're doing a cooking show or something like that, you got one hand. So I don't know how you're gonna get that casserole to, get done with one hand, but if you do, invite me over. I'll shoot it. So that's a drawback about a microphone, but it's a very good tool as well, of course. The best bet is a little guy on the right there, which is a lavalier mic. That's what I'm wearing right now. Chris is receiving my audio information. I've got a battery pack here transmitting over there, so we don't have to be tethered. I could walk down the hall. I did, actually. And it can be placed very close to the mouth, right? Whereas you can do that with a mic too, but I've got both hands. I can operate whatever I need to do. So it's really the best bet. They're a little bit more expensive. They're not crazy expensive. If your club has one for speaking, it's a great, great tool. Yes?
2 questions. One, is that lapel mic available for rental at any photo, video?
Yeah, absolutely. Viztech, Long McQuaid probably has them. Viztech for sure will have them. And they probably run you maybe $35 for a day or day and a half.
And in terms of the range, because you're transmitting and everything.
Yeah, I'm gonna say probably 200 feet, 150, 200 feet. They're pretty good. I mean, I've got a very good pack on here. You can buy them inexpensively. I don't know about the inexpensive ones. Maybe they're good now. I don't know. Okay, these are my parents, Ron and Paula. And in this shoot, I had a camera probably about 5 feet away. So I'm just going to demonstrate the differences between the mic camera, the mic on this camera here, and then the lav. So this is the camera mic first, just open.
My name is Paula Frances Forde. Frances being my maiden name, and Forde my marriage name.
You can hear it sounding a little hollow. I think there was a fan in the background too. The advantage with this mic is very directional and it's going straight. It's pointing straight up to your mouth. So here's the difference with the lav mic.
My name is Paula Frances Forde. Frances being my maiden name, and Forde my marriage name.
So you see the difference there? It makes for a better video. I'm just showing you the proper placement for a lav mic is about right about here. You don't want it down here. Again, you're missing a lot of information if it's down here or on your shoulder or somewhere. It's meant to be a lapel or a tie mic. Proper placement for a handheld mic. Sometimes people tend to eat these things And that's not good. You ever been to a wedding? This thing on, this thing on? I hate those guys. So you have to be a little careful. You know, there is a proper placement, but if you keep it about here, that's where you want to keep it. Okay, the basic elements of editing. I've already done a little video. I'm going to show you how to do some basic editing. And the reason I did that is because I don't want anybody to be intimidated about the process. There are a lot of bells and whistles to some programs. I mean, the ones I use, there's a lot of stuff to it. But for this version, I was working on iMovie for Mac. And I believe Windows has a free version as well called Movie Maker. So they've taken all the heavy duty stuff out and just left you with a really nice user interface. So you get the basics. You can title, you can put music in, and obviously your clips on a timeline. So that's what we're going to be working with today. I will play you this video, which is of me talking over the process. Okay, so let's assume that you've already brought your footage in from the camera into your software, whatever you're using. I'm using iMovie with the Mac here. So it's a fairly simple program. Everything I need is up here. This is the area where my media is imported into. It can be clips, video clips. I also imported some audio. I'm going to be putting this song underneath the picture. If you had JPEGs or photographs, you could bring them in this area as well. This is kind of where it's a bin for all of your footage and media. My first clip I'm going to use, I'll take this one. And what you want to do is drag and drop it down to this area here called the timeline. The timeline is where you tell your story. It's how you can rearrange your clips, put them in different orders to see what works properly for you. But if you're following your storyboard, then you'll know exactly where to put each clip. This is a little long for me. It says 1.6 minutes. I'm going to take this down to, let's say, just by grabbing each end here. I'll leave it at 12 seconds. That's great. And how about this one as a second clip? Again, dragging and dropping. I'm going to shorten this one a little bit too. And why don't we add one more nice fire shot for after the hard day's canoeing. So I've got 3 clips on the timeline. If I wanted to, it's as simple as moving them, telling a different story. Now I'm telling the story in reverse here. I don't want to do that. So I'll put it back. So this is the way I want to tell my story. Right now they're cuts. Cuts from one to another. That's fine, but I'd like to add a dissolve. So I go up to transitions, and this is the area. It shows you, this is a transition, spin in, spin out. So I'm just going to go with the classic dissolve. A dissolve tells a passage of time. If you've watched movies, when you see a dissolve, it means the next day or the next morning. As a matter of fact, most movies, except if they're action movies, they just use cuts and dissolves. Very simple to tell a story. So now I've got a nice dissolve in there. And in there. Okay, I've noticed here a piece of audio I don't want. Just going to drag this down. I'll get rid of that audio. I'm going to put some music under here anyhow, but I don't want that bumping sound. The rest of the stuff is fine. Now I'm going to go back to my media, and I've picked this piece of music here. So I'm going to drag and drop it again. Take it to the head of the piece. And I can control the audio level here. If I wanted to do a mix, keep some of the sound effects from the water and the fire, and just bring that down a little bit. I can control the length of that. There we go. So now we have a piece, we've got some transitions, we've got some music in there, we've cleaned up a little bit of the audio. How about a title? Let's throw a title on top of there. Again, I'm going to drag and drop a title here. Its default length is 4 seconds. You can increase or decrease that. Let's make it 5 seconds, thereabouts. And you see on the right-hand side here, this is where you would just type in your text. Fancy title there, Video 101. So let's take a look at what this looks like. Okay, so that's a very basic video for you folks. So we've made some transitions. We've thrown the footage on the timeline. We've made some transitions here. We've added a title. We've added music. That's a basic video. Now the thing we want to do is export. So in this program, it's a little button up here to the right that says Share. So I'm going to click that. You can share it to social media, go directly to YouTube if you're sending your video out to your club. I'm going to just send a file out to my desktop. So this is what it says. It's Video 101. I'm keeping the quality resolution very high. I shot it in 1080p, which is resolution, a high resolution from my camera. And next, I'm going to save it to the desktop, or you can save it to a hard drive, whatever you want to save it as. And there we go. And there's a little progress circle here that tells you when it will be done. It usually opens up after that. So there you go. That's a basic video editing session. And to finish up, this is a video that I just posted to our website. Derek, I know you don't believe in videos posted to websites, but I'm all about video, and I'm all about posting it to websites, and I'm all about, getting it out there. So this is, I'll let you watch it. This is hot off the press. It's also on the D60. It's also on the D60 Facebook site. So this also includes best practices of what we've talked about today. Some good lighting, some good audio. Stabilization. Have a look.
It's amazing that Inspiring Voices Toastmasters Club has been a President's Distinguished Club for 10 years in a row. This is a real honor. It means that we have achieved our club goals, 9 of 10 club goals every year for 10 years in a row, and that is fantastic. And I think the important thing to mention is that when you have a healthy club like that does achieve its club goals, it means that the members are healthy members. They are achieving their education goals, their speaking and their leadership goals, and their skills are improving. And it's really all about the members. So I would sum it up by saying healthy club, healthy members.
I think that the reason for our club's success in being President's Distinguished for so many years has been our Vice Presidents of Education. They have been on top of their game. They have been enthusiastic. They've encouraged our members to sign up for roles. They don't let anyone take too long before they sign up for their first role, so they keep the members engaged very quickly.
When I came to Inspiring Voices in 2011, right away I knew it was a club that I felt comfortable in. Not only did they find it important to achieve their educational goals, but they had fun. And the camaraderie and the fun and the support that came from the people in the room, the warmth that I felt on the day that I came, has never gone away. That feeling or that strength that came from the group has continued, and I think that keeps the group strong. We've had the benefit of having people in our group that have served in leadership roles at the district level, and they bring that enthusiasm and that love of Toastmasters back to the group, and that helps people aspire to things beyond their own speaking skills.
We have been a distinguished club for more than 10 years, President's Distinguished. How did we accomplish that? I wish I could tell you. I can't pinpoint that answer. But we have fun, we're warm, we laugh, and I mean belly roll out laugh at every meeting. There is just something about the energy and the people that this club attracts that lends to the success that we have had. I promise you, Inspiring Voices will continue to be a President Distinguished Toastmasters Club and lead that way for our club and others around us. Presidents Distinguished, here we come.
I've been to other groups, and this is the one that feels like home to me, and it'll always be home.
Thank you. Thank you. And you'll notice in there, I had a lot of B-roll, so I did several shoots and just kind of had a little bank of footage from our club and then used it as B-roll over the voiceover, so it worked out really well. Todd, you killed it, man. I love it. It's great. Made the video. So, thank you. So we yes. Yes, please. Yes.
But you also have a
Yes.
How do you turn off the...
There's a setting on the camera whether it's a button that says either camera mic or auxiliary input, so whatever the input is. And note, that's a good question you brought up. On this camera, it's a more expensive camera. It's got something called XLR ins, and they're a 3-prong in. It's a professional audio component that goes in. But you can get for smaller cameras, they usually have a mini jack. You've probably seen mini jacks. You put your headphones in them and everything. It's a 1/8 mini jack. If you get a lav mic, make sure you get the mini jack out of the transmitter and not the XLR, because you'll have this thing dangling there and you won't know what to do with it if the camera does not have an XLR. So very good point. Check to see what your input is, your external audio input is.
A lot of cameras don't have that input. I went through that experience.
Is that right?
Yeah.
They just go with their own?
You just got to check your camera whether it's got the...
Okay, that's a good point. Yeah. And phones, I don't know what you do with a phone. I mean...
How about captioning? Captioning for people who are deaf?
Closed captioning, you can get third-party programs for that.
And they take the audio and they write the text, and then you re-edit the text to make sense?
Yeah, well, that's mainly for broadcast. I mean, I don't know if YouTube does it or...
YouTube does it automatically.
They do, eh? Well, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. You hit a little CC button and it...
Yeah. If you turn the volume right down, it'll do it automatically.
Okay, I didn't know that. Thanks. If there are no more questions, I will wrap it.
Thank you, John.